Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Social Live. Happy Wednesday. It's almost a sunny day here in New York City, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host today, Jules.
Steph, you're so kind.
2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
You've really filled in for Courtney, but I hear she's going to be back next week.
Oh my God.
I know. Rumor
this
on the
is
street.
news to me.
I know.
No.
I thought I would tell you live on air. We gotta make it interesting.
Well, Courtney is wonderful, and she always does a great job. I'm just happy to be here, you know?
Well, we've had a busy week at SocialFly. One of our new clients, Il Maquillage, launched their makeup brand here in New York City, and we were so excited to be at their opening last week. And you may notice Jules looks a little bit different today.
I put makeup on and got ready.
She is glam and ready to go for Social Live, and so high maintenance with her.
So high maintenance.
It's like you got a makeover and you learned every single thing that they showed you how to do when you did it all by yourself.
Thank you.
I
Oh
love
my
it.
gosh. I'm, MUA in training at this point. No, just kidding. But I really do love makeup. And I was so pumped to go to the event last week. It was unbelievable, like the most glamorous event I've ever been to, which isn't saying much, but it was super glamorous.
It was glamorous.
And today was like the first time I really tried a lot of the different products that we were given, and the eyeshadow I love. Super easy to use, really high pigmented colors. And I can't wait to continue to buy this makeup and use it.
Yeah, well, they have a pop-up shop down in Soho, so if you're in New York City, definitely check out Il Maquillage. And we have been growing their Instagram too, Il Maquillage on Instagram, so check out what we've been up to at SocialFly. We have a lot of breaking social media news to get to. You've got the first story today, Jules.
Okay, so this week has been Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, and they've had a ton of really interesting announcements, some big updates coming for iOS 12. One of them is Apple is coming for Snapchat's face filters. They announced this week that the Messages camera will offer a variety of stickers, filters, like a comic book, and you'll also be able to draw shapes with your Animoji and create Memojis.
This, I think, is actually going to take off a bit.
I think so too.
It'll be a fad. I think it'll just be like a little phase.
think?
People will be using it, but it's going to be like the Bitmojis on Snapchat.
But these are animated. So the Memoji, you can go in and customize your Animoji, excuse me, and get so much more detail, it sounds like, than you can on Bitmoji, which already has a million, I think billions of combinations
This is going to look just like your face.
Yes, exactly. And then you can animate it. So whether you're sending a message and you want to animate your face, or now on FaceTime, you can use these stickers as well. I think this is really, really cool for Apple and is...
How long do we have to wait for this? Until the next update.
Yeah. It's going to be released in beta today and before the full release this fall.
All right. I want to try to download this and get this today.
Oh, totally.
Because I'm sending unicorn emojis to people like Jules.
I've gotten one before. It's slightly terrifying.
You said it made your day.
It did make my day, but at first I didn't know what it was. But it's great. I think this is really cool. When I was reading up on this story yesterday, a lot of the articles I was reading were questioning if this will encourage users to communicate more on FaceTime and messages rather than using the face filters and stickers available on, say, Instagram Stories or Snapchat. I think that'll be really cool to see how people use these new features.
I have a feeling Instagram is going to figure out a way to take this feature as well.
Yeah.
They're not going to go down without a fight.
Oh, I think so too. And speaking of more Apple updates, on FaceTime, these Memojis and Animojis will be available. And now you can FaceTime with up to 32 people.
How would you even organize something like that?
It has to be an event. It has to be a calendar invite. We were talking before the show started that means our whole office, we could FaceTime together. That is how we will be conducting meetings from now on.
All right, Jules, you organize it and set it up, and we can certainly test it.
I just don't know. I've done so Snapchat came out with this feature where you can FaceTime, or not FaceTime, but video chat with up to 32 people at a time. They were when it came out, they were using the example of conference calls, things like that, as a substitute for Skype almost. And I thought it was kind of bizarre, and I've done video chat on Snapchat, and it was actually more fun than I thought, but I don't think I even can think of 32 people to FaceTime with at one time.
It's a lot of people at one time. I am a big FaceTimer. I do love to FaceTime.
Oh, yeah.
I
It's the
call my
greatest form of
girlfriends who don't live
communication.
here all the time on FaceTime.
Yeah.
So you can have that really like, one-to-one connection.
Yes, exactly. But I stare at myself the entire time.
What does that say about you?
I'm super narcissistic.
Oh, Jules. Well, in Facebook news, you have our sign there. Facebook is testing Lip Sync Live, which I'm really excited about, and they are also going to be allowing videos with copyrighted music. So let's talk about this Lip Sync Live. Did you ever use Musical.ly before?
I've gotten ads for Musical.ly before, but I've never used it myself.
There's actually influencers who have become super famous from creating these accounts on Musical.ly, and now Facebook is trying to get in the game. I was hoping it was going to be more of a karaoke, so the world can hear your beautiful singing voice.
Your beautiful singing voice.
We could do a little duet.
Yes.
Take me or leave me. So Lip Sync is going to let users pick a popular song and pretend to sing it on Facebook Live. So essentially, once this is released, all you're going to have to do is go live on Facebook, and it will give you the option to pick a song. And then you go live and you can start singing along. So as soon as this launches, I'm sure our Facebook feed is going to be flooded with all sorts of lip sync songs. And I bet a lot of parents are going to put their kids on and have their kids do it.
I was thinking that too. Yeah. I feel like I'm going to discover a ton of people I went to high school with who all of a sudden can sing,
Yeah.
They're going live on Facebook singing.
And hundreds of songs are going to be available, including Havana. Give a little tune.
Oh my God, Stephanie.
Come on, Jules.
No.
You gotta give the audience what they want. A little song.
We'll play it in the background next week.
When it's allowed. Welcome to the Jungle, and then God's Plan by Drake. So you can definitely start singing along. And we want everyone to know that this is going to be a tool where you are going to be able to add sound effects. But Facebook says in the coming months, it plans to start testing options for adding the music you love to Facebook stories. So maybe this will be a way to really get Facebook stories to take off.
Totally. I mean, this makes sense for Facebook given that they've signed with so many major record labels and some indie labels over the past few months to get the copyright to all of this music. So I think this could go really, really well for some people who can sing and they launch their careers on Facebook. Or it might lead to you defriending more people.
But a lot of this is going to be people lip syncing.
Yeah.
Lip syncing.
I mean,
so
yeah,
you're not going to
true.
actually hear people's voices unless it changes to Facebook karaoke.
Oh my God, that will be unbelievable.
Again, I think this is going to be a fad. It's going to launch. Everyone's going to be using it. It's going to flood our feeds, and then it'll be on to something else. But it will get a lot of users talking. It'll get things going. In Instagram news, so we know over the past few years, Instagram algorithm has completely changed, and everyone has been speculating, what is the actual algorithm?
Yeah.
How is Instagram deciding what type of content to put in your feed? And for me, I feel like it was pretty easy to figure it out because I could tell that people I was engaging with the most were rising to the top of my feed. But this is exactly what Instagram has shared. The three main factors are for deciding what content is going to go to the top of your feed when you open Instagram. So the first is interest. How much Instagram predicts you'll care about a post. Recency. How recently the post was shared with prioritization for timely posts over week-old posts, because you don't want to see that post from 2 weeks ago that your friend posted and then you like it and then you look like you were stalking them.
Exactly.
And then your relationship with the person, how close you are to the person who shared it, with a higher ranking for people you've interacted with a lot in the past on Instagram, such as commenting on their posts or being tagged in their photos. So that's the secret behind Instagram. And look, Facebook and Instagram, they keep talking about how important transparency is to them. So they finally have come out and shared how they have created this algorithm. And speaking of Instagram, we have a very special guest who is an Instagram influencer. We are so excited to welcome Chris Hill to the show. Welcome. And you can hold any of these signs at any time that you want if you feel so inclined.
Sweet.
We want people to follow you, obviously.
Follow.
Yes. You can follow Chris on Instagram at
Life
by Hill.
Yep.
Yes. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
As a quick backstory, Chris and I met at an event. We were working with the company Sperry a couple of weeks ago and brought Chris in to come to the event and influence people. So we met and chatted, and I was like, you should come on our Facebook Live show. You have an incredible story, and I'm so excited for
everyone
to learn more about you.
Yeah, so I am a veteran. I deployed to the Middle East, and that kind of launched my whole travel career. So I deployed to Kuwait, and then I actually went to Dubai from there with one of my buddies. He's also in the Army with me. And when we got back, we kind of had a couple months to just do whatever. We had no work in between school, and we ended up going to, I want to say it was like 8 countries.
Wow.
From like the UK to Australia, New Zealand, and then after that, we kind of just like made it a point to start traveling everywhere to try to just hit up as many places as possible.
That's amazing.
Yeah. You know, it's honestly like an amazing experience, and I don't regret anything. It launched absolutely everything for me. So yeah.
Yeah, so you said that inspired your love for travel. Where are some of your favorite places to visit?
So I've been to so many different places that are so different and unique that, I mean, it's really hard to pick one. For cities, I'm going to have to go with Paris. Paris was like one of my favorite cities that I've ever been to. It's so laissez-faire, just relaxed, and so different from New York. You know, you could drink wine on the Seine River.
Wow.
You know, in
Love
New York,
it.
you can't really do that.
Yeah.
You don't really want to drink on the Hudson River.
There's no open container when you're
That's the other issue. Whereas like Paris, you could drink on the lawn in front of the Eiffel Tower. It's so cool. For nature-wise, I would say Iceland was probably the most gorgeous country I've ever been to. Me and my buddy found, we kind of like went off the beaten path, found this river that was heated, not the Blue Lagoon that a lot of people are used to, but it was just this river. You had to hike a mile uphill, and then you just literally grab your bathing suit and like go in, and it's like 40 degrees outside, but the river was like 120 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
And it's
like a
just
hot tub.
sauna.
Yeah.
I mean, steam is coming
That's so
up.
cool.
It was amazing. So,
How did you find that?
just a lot of research. Read a lot of forums. You know, of course, Instagram helps. Like that's actually like one of the first places I go to when I like go to a country. I'm always like, all right, what are the hot spots that people are taking photos at?
Totally.
Yeah.
I always look at different angles and see, and I always try not to copy the angles that people are shooting at to try to get a different like unique perspective. But that definitely helps. Like Instagram actually is like one of the first places I go to when I'm going to like a new country or a new city or a new spot. So, and I think that's like the way a lot of people are starting to travel, at least like for millennials and, you know, my generation. It's kind of like Instagram first, then you kind of figure out the rest after that. So
do your research on what you find on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram first. And
so when did you first start taking photos in your travels? Like, did you do this when you were growing up, or this just became a passion when you were traveling?
I was always kind of semi-interested in photography growing up, but it really didn't start until I started traveling more, and I was like, you know, I'm kind of tired of taking crappy photos on my iPhone 4 of like all these amazing places. I was like, let me buy a DSLR camera and try to start getting into it. And then once I got it and I started taking, you know, better pictures, I was like, this is amazing. And I kind of just like went all in, started doing tons of research, started watching like hundreds of YouTube videos, practicing, going everywhere, like trying to shoot my friends and just going out in New York and just, you know, snapping photos and just learning. And then all of a sudden, you know, I was going to my job, my 9 to 5, and I was like, the only thing I want to do is take photos.
Yeah.
And and so that's how that kind of shifted into that.
Gotta follow your passion.
Yes, exactly. So, and it's amazing, and you know, I never thought photography would, you know, I'd be able to like launch a career with that, and even Instagram alone, just a platform to launch, you know, that photography and, you know, website and everything. So
do you only focus on Instagram, or do you use other platforms, social platforms, a blog? What else?
I do have a blog, and that's when I'll put more like full outfits, or if I go travel, I'll put all my photos on there, and I primarily just use Instagram to drive traffic there. I do have Facebook. I have a Twitter presence. I don't really go on it anymore. I just scroll Twitter for like news and stuff like that. But
see what's trending.
It's a lot of social media to keep up with too.
Yeah.
So I primarily just focus on Instagram. If I do Facebook, it's mostly just like putting up a blog post. And I still have a ton of family and friends, like my parents are on Facebook. So they'll be, you know, resharing my posts and stuff like that still. But so primarily just Instagram. Yeah.
So your passion for photography and travel has inspired over 20,000 people to follow you. But when did you first realize your influence? Was it a certain post or a partnership that really kind of launched your community?
I can't honestly nail it down to, like it was very gradual, like the whole time. It just, and then, over the course of 6 months, you kind of look back and you're like, oh, wow, like this has been picking up.
Yeah.
And that just kind of keeps happening. It doesn't really it's a very slow process. But yeah, so there really wasn't like one big thing, but I just knew I was on some sort of track. So I just kept up with it.
Do you have a lot of fans that have followed you from the beginning and engage with you often? Like, what type of questions do you get all the time?
Yeah, I definitely do have fans that engage since the beginning, through comments mostly, even DMs. But I think the number one question I get is, like, where did you get that? So if I have a product, like, the number one DM is, where did I get that? What's the link? Another thing, too, is a lot of people ask for the photos that I take, like, even just, like, landscape photos or, like, photos of New York. People are always asking me to put them up so people can download them, use them as newspapers. So
are you selling them?
I'm not yet. That's my next move.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out the whole logistics and selling them and whether I just want to do digital sales or actually get them in print.
Right.
But yeah, so I think eventually I'm going to have them up on my website for people to download.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah,
Good
it's work
for
in
you.
progress. I'm trying to like build up my my photo collection first still.
Yeah.
Too.
How have you figured out, how to monetize your feed with working with brands or different clothing you're going to post anyways? And if people are asking you where to buy it, obviously you want to be able to make this a career. How are you monetizing?
Yeah, the biggest way right now, or the number one way, I guess, to monetize Instagram for me is through blog posts. And I think that's the majority as well. And at my following right now, it's a lot of kind of like one and done brand partnerships. And I think like a lot of people are looking for that one big brand to kind of pick them up and launch them and kind of work with them a lot more. And I know a lot of my influencer friend, blogger friends, they're, the big thing everyone wants is like that long-term partnership deal.
Yep.
And that's, that's the direction. The other thing too is like videography. So a lot more people are getting into video and it's something that I'm working on. Videography is a whole nother beast than just photography. I mean, the equipment and the time and energy. Editing is a lot more than just taking a photo. And I think a lot more people are realizing that. A lot more brands are realizing that too. So
Video is really important.
Yeah, I actually just bought a GoPro, so
Nice.
to bring with me on my trips, try to make some cool little videos and like ease my way into videography.
Have you worked with any hotels yet, or?
I have worked with a hotel. When I went to Paris, I did work with Hotel. I'm sorry if I mispronounce this because it's in French, but Hotel Relais Saint Germain.
Okay.
And it was great. Super small boutique hotel, like 20 rooms, and so we stayed there. They have those classic Parisian flowers on the outside of the building. And it was great. They're the only hotel that I worked with, and I don't know if I'm going to be working with any other hotels in the future, only because when I go to like visit a new city or a country for the first time, I'm actually never in the hotel room.
Sure.
And I like to enjoy it. I don't like to I don't want to work.
Right.
If I'm going and taking photos, that's like a different story, but for myself, but I like to enjoy my time not working. So
I hear you.
Yeah. Who would be your dream brand to collaborate with?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I honestly think it would be probably like a tourism. Like one of those tourism boards for a specific country. I've been dying to go to Kenya and Nairobi. And even Morocco. So Africa is the only continent I haven't been to, minus Antarctica.
Why?
But eventually I'm going to get there, I promise. Africa is like definitely on my list. So
Do you ever reach out to the tourism boards, or are you just waiting for them to find you?
I'm kind of waiting for them to find me.
You gotta reach out.
Right, I know. Eventually, no, definitely. I'm making that a goal to actually like reach out more. Definitely a tourism board.
So let's talk a little bit about fashion.
Sure.
What would you say is the biggest difference in men's style fashion from the different countries that you've traveled to?
The number one thing I would say is the way Europeans dress. I mean, they dress a lot more street focused. At least being in New York, a lot of people focus on kind of like big name brands. You know, everyone wants to wear like Hugo Boss or Calvin Klein or Tommy or something like that. But in Europe, at least for the guys, they're all wearing like white tees and skinny ripped jeans and stuff like that, and Adidas, Yeezy, stuff like that. Kind of more like LA style, I guess I would say. Sorry if you're from LA, but that's what my impression is. So yeah, definitely. I mean, it also depends on the location too. So
do you mold the fashion of the country you're visiting, or?
Sometimes it depends how bad I want to stick out or how bad I want to blend in. So, I mean, the way I dress here, is basically what I'll wear in Europe mostly. So,
how would you describe your personal style, and where do you go for inspiration?
I would say it's mostly kind of a mix of like streetwear, definitely casual. My number one rule for me is comfortability. As long as it's comfortable, then I'll wear it. If it's uncomfortable, then I kind of sly away from that. So as long as it's comfortable and I feel good wearing it all day and I'm not going crazy, then that's my style. So,
Cool. What do you think? Is there one piece of clothing every man should own?
Yes, I would say Chelsea boots, which I'm wearing now. These are a little worn down, but I think a solid pair of Chelsea boots is like a must-have. You could wear them with like almost anything. They're durable. I've worn these on like hikes and walking around the city, believe it or not.
I must have some style, because I did pick out a pair of shoes just like that for my husband.
There you go.
I had some type of intuition in
perfect. Yep.
under the Nordstrom shoe department.
Yep, he's got it. So yeah, these are. I mean, and the cool thing is these come in like a ton of different colors. So you get them in black, beige, brown, whatever. So yeah,
Very
definitely
cool.
a must-have.
Well, we forgot to mention to everyone before we started that we're doing a giveaway for anyone who shares this episode, or you can comment too if you want to win. We are giving away a photo set. You're going to do a photo training session.
Yeah. Yep.
A photo training session live in New York if you're here in New York. Otherwise, we'll figure out a FaceTime or a Skype.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you want to win that, comment, share this episode, tell us why you want to win, because you're working with the pro.
Totally.
Cool.
So where can everyone follow you?
What's that?
Where can everyone follow you?
They can follow me at Life by Hill.
Life by Hill, all over at Life by Hill on
Instagram, on the gram. There it is.
Tell your friends. His
Facebook.
account is amazing, full of inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back here next week, same time, same place. And rumor has it, Courtney might be back next week too. We'll see you guys. Have a good one.